So hi everybody, it's yet again another episode. It's been a while. I've been away for a while, taking a break, of course, with the holidays. But I'm back again with awesome guests. Today I have Cindy Ogana. I think most of you have listened to her. She's mostly on the Trend on Friday. She's one of the team there, and she does an amazing job. And she was happy today to talk to us. So maybe Cindy, you can say just a few words. Salimia, what you
Hey Joshua, thank
Hi.
you so much for having me. I'm really humble. I am happy to be here, and thank you once again for inviting me.
Perfect. I think we'll get just right into it. Uh, I'll just go directly to just giving a short story. I think it's one of the things that I haven't shared this at any time, but it's a fondest memory that I have nikiwa mdogo. And I was thinking about it today, and maybe you have a similar experience. But then this was back then nikiwa mdogo. My parents, my dad alikuwa ameniambia, if you ever meet somebody on the streets and they send you, he was specific, akasema if they send you cigarettes, you have to say no. That's a funny story. But then mimi nikiwa mdogo, you can't say no when you meet mtu mkubwa. So one day my parent would warn me like mara kadhaa, if you find somebody you don't know and they send you something, say hapana, say you can't do it. But then one day I met this neighbor mwenye alinipatia 20 bob, I still remember. And then he wanted me to go buy cigarettes for him, nimletee. So me, with the kadogo part of me, I can't say no. I went because nilikuwa, it's only this guy, I can't say no. The body is willing, inasema hapana, please don't send me. But then there is no way I can say it. So that's how I ended up nikatumwa, nikaenda kwa duka. But then the day you decide to make a mistake, that's when you get caught. So I got to the shop, nikaingia kwa duka. I went to the company. I didn't worry, like who is around. So kumbe not actually by mistake, out of coincidence, my dad was in the same shop. So even though niliingia, I don't know what happened after, but I know it's just a bad story. But anyway, so Cindy, do you
Wow.
That's what I remember. It was, I think hata I don't know. Nilienda tu nyumbani.
That must have been a shocking thing. So what happened when your dad was in the shop? What did you do?
Because now nilingia kwa shop, I didn't see. So the way hizi shops ziko na mostly ushago utapata there's a sitting place, alafu pale mbele ndo kuna counter. So I went to the counter, nikasema tu vizuri nipatie hii na hii. But then when you turn back kutoka, that's when unapata mzazi exactly. So anyway, that's a fun story. So what is that one story that unakumbuka and you're like, I know it must be a long time. What story can you remember?
Not so long ago.
Not so long ago. Okay.
Not so long. You're saying a long time, like 40 years ago. I'm still young at heart. Let me see a funny experience like that. What do I remember? Oh yes. So, I used to work at a media house. Mm-hmm. I won't say where because if the person hears this, then they'll know. So I used to work at a media house.
Yeah.
Before I was doing NTV The Trend, and at that time there was a head of department, and he was a very important person, driving a very important car, that kind of thing. And we'd all meet at the canteen, and he used to nod and give that look of, you guys are of another class, mini kohuko, throwing his nose up in the air. So a time came when there was a major shuffle in the media fraternity and guys got fired, and he was one of the guys who got fired. So sadly, since he got fired, he was never able to find employment up until years later, and I'm talking about 6-8 years later, when now I left that media house and I'm now in development. So I am working at Faraja Cancer Support Trust, where I currently work. Mm-hmm. And I was on maternity leave. I was going on maternity leave. So we advertised for my position, somebody to fill it in. And guess what? Wow. In comes this guy who used to be a senior manager at the former media house.
Yeah.
Coming to fill in for me when I was on maternity. Like he came for a job.
Whoa.
I was like, wow, I never thought somebody of his caliber would want to work in what I do. Not to say that what I do is not prestigious, but he used to carry himself around like he was a very important person.
Yeah.
And the tables had turned, and guess what? I interviewed him for the job.
Whoa.
It was very humbling for him, I guess, to say. It was encouraging for me because it goes to show that sometimes when people treat you a certain type of way, this life has a way of humbling you, and tables can turn on you. So that was my lesson. He didn't get the job.
Oh.
He wasn't qualified for it, and he was also asking for way too much money. So I hope he's well wherever he is. No ill will, but it was just a very interesting turn of events.
Awesome. That's really nice. Like, life has a way of humbling everybody. Like, it always gets you.
Yes.
Nice. I discovered you went to Moi, but I went to Moi for like a year before I went to Hungary. And were you in main campus or different? Which campus did you go?
I was in main campus.
Eldoret, right?
Yes.
Wow. Yes. Wow. I felt sad coming in Eldoret. I'm like, why can't I go to Nairobi? But then I thought later after, if I was in Nairobi, then I would go home to kill a time. I couldn't focus. But then, how was Eldoret, by the way?
It was a bit like yours. You see, before I joined Moi University, I had never been to boarding school. I'd been to a day school all through, always with my parents. So the first time I'm away from home, I'm like 400 kilometers in a village. Because you see, Moi University main campus is in Warren County, Keses, where outside your lecture theater, cows, sheep just pass. Yes. It was a very, very different. It was a cultural shift for me, culture shock galore. Mm-hmm. And I tried to apply to so many universities afterwards. Mm-hmm. And interesting enough, most of the universities that I applied for, a couple of months into my application, they'd go on strike. So I guess that was God's way of just keeping me at Moi. And I'm happy that I stayed. I have some lifelong friends that I met there, a lot of lessons. It's really a beautiful place. It grows on you. Yeah. Teaches you the culture of assembly, of community. Mm-hmm. So it was actually a good place. But I won't lie, I hated it. The first year I hated it. I used to cry all the time. I used to lock myself in the room. I couldn't wait for weekends. I used to go home every weekend. I used to spend about 2,000. This is a lot of money back in the day because, as I told you, I'm a bit old. I used to spend about 2,000 shillings every weekend. Whoa. I'd leave on Friday. I come back on Monday.
I see. It's funny. Moi, my transition to Moi was after Nitoke High School. I went to some of these schools in Majimoto. So then immediately, I'm this person used to my own space, and then I went to Moi.
Yes.
And life changed after that. It was a good experience. It toughens you up. Nice.
It does. It really does. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was listening to one of your interviews, and the part you said what you wanted to be when you were a child was actually to be a nun. That's actually somewhere online. And I just laughed at me. Oh.
Yes. So I grew up at a Catholic school, and I liked how nuns were. Nuns used to run the show. They were very important people. When they'd pass, everybody would be quiet. They seemed to be interacting with the priests, who at that time I thought were all so cute. So I was like, if I'm a nun, then I'll be hanging out with cute priests. I just liked how they used to run the place, and they had so much power. So I said, let me be a nun. I didn't understand ministry or helping people. I just wanted to have the ability to order people around like the school nuns. Yeah. So that's what I was like, when I grow up, I'm going to be a nun so I can boss people around, because I never still don't like being bossed around, but I felt if I'm a nun, then I'll have control over people. So it was just a childish dream.
But then looking back, and then now, I think time has passed, you've really discovered other venues, like you're a poet, you do emceeing. How has it been like switching gears and trying to find what you really want? I know it doesn't come on the first day. sometimes you want to become something, like you have a dream what you want to become, but then on the way, how unapata this is not working, you try something else, and then you finally land what you exactly want. How has it been, you trying to find what best really works for you?
Wow, this is such a powerful question, because it's coming at a time when I am at, can I say, transition into my full purpose. So I've always been an artist by virtue of the fact that I don't struggle to express myself. Now that puts you in a position where I can act, I can be a poet, I can be an MC. A lot of the hang-ups that people have in public speaking, I don't have. And a lot of the hang-ups people have in terms of oratory skills, I'm blessed that I don't have. So from an early stage, I knew that anything that I will be involved in would be creative. And that is why when I was at Moi, I got the privilege to study theater and creative arts. Now, I initially applied to do BCom because my dad was an economist, and of course, being daddy's girl, I wanted to be like dad, and I wanted to make money and drive a big car, but I'm kind of happy that I failed. Not failed miserably, but I just missed the mark by like 2 points to get into BCom. But I managed to qualify to do theater and creative arts at Moi University. So while I was there is when I fully realized my artistic potential, not only in terms of poetry and emceeing. Well, by then I wasn't an MC yet, but in terms of what my artistry can be. Yeah. So it included theater, it included journalism, it included creative writing, dancing. I used to dance in campus. I had a group called Dom Safrik, and we do contemporary dances. So I had different ways of expression. Yeah. And when I left campus, and I think a lot of young guys suffer from this, I tried to find work in the arts world. I did, but it wasn't paying very well. Yeah. For example, I worked for a company that did musical theater. I invested about 3-4 months of my time borrowing fare from my mom and my sisters, only for them not to pay me. And at that point, the art scene is not what it was now. We didn't have TV, we didn't have Papa Shirandula and that kind of thing. Yeah. So the different ways of making money as an artist was different. So I was very crestfallen and I sold out. When I say that, I mean that I was looking for money. I didn't care what I was doing. But because of my self-expression, I'd find myself a lot in the media. And my first taste of media was when I was shortlisted as a contestant for a reality TV show called The Presenter on KTN. Okay. Gosh, Joshua, how old were you in 2007?
Wow. Pretty
How
young.
old were you? You're 7.
2007, I was 7 plus 4, I think 11 or something.
Oh my gosh.
Quite young.
Such a youngin'. Hadn't even developed your testicles.
Wow. Well.
I bet you hadn't even broken your voice. I was getting into KTN with the presenter. Fun fact, the presenter had people like Linda Nyangwasa, who's now in Kiss 100. It had, skinny filmmaker who does a lot of the videos for Fena. And then it has Edith Kimani, who was of KTN and Deutsche Welle, and I think she's now doing her own stuff because she won the presenter. Kome and a couple of people. Coco Sobomoto, who's now doing the reggae show on Hot 96. Yeah. Jambi Koikai was there. Sarah Hassan. We were very hungry. We were very young. We were all looking for a platform. Yeah. I didn't win. I made it until top 5. But there was a company that saw my, feel free to interrupt me if I'm going on and on, because I can't go on and on.
No problem. Yeah.
So there's a company that was looking for somebody with my skill set. So I got hired by Homeboys Entertainment to be a production manager, and later on I was promoted to head of radio. So Homeboys is actually where I learned media. And I'm forever thankful for the opportunity. It was very difficult, very challenging at that point, but they really gave me a platform to be creative. If I had an idea for a show, they were like, fine, as long as you can make it work on television. So that's when I learned editing. I learned different forms of television and media and whatnot. And from Homeboys is how I segued into Hot 96. So I've been in the media actively for about 6 years.
Yeah.
And then I got an opportunity to volunteer at a cancer charity. Mm-hmm. Now here's where the switch, and here's where I answer your question.
Yeah.
When I was working at the cancer charity, I felt so fulfilled. I felt like I was doing something impactful. I loved the fact that every day I'd wake up, I'd feel like I'm helping people. Like my work was, supporting people and making a difference. Mm-hmm. And I made a conscious decision that many people found very shocking. I left media and I went full into development. So right now I'm a fundraising and communications manager for a cancer charity called Faraja. Yeah. Because of my previous history in the media, Homeboys, Hot 96, Larry Mado was a very good friend of mine. He invited me to be a panelist on NTV. Mm-hmm. And that's how I've been on the trend for the last 5 going on 6 years.
Wow.
Yes. So that's been my trajectory in terms of work. How did I know what suited me? Imagine, it was trial and error.
Yeah.
It started off with just looking for work. I just needed money. Your net worth is your network. Wherever you go, you sell yourself. And when you sell yourself, people will call you, because in all the jobs I've worked, I've been called. I am yet to apply for a job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Since Homeboys.
Wow.
I have never applied for a job. I'm always called. Mm-hmm. So it's all about networking.
Yeah. I think you do such a noble cause, the one for helping people. I was reading somewhere, and then somewhere you had said your passion is actually helping people. This is where when you were saying, if we had 100 people like you who have the same mentality and people who are genuinely interested to help, then I think would be in a better place. So I think that's really good of you, and you do such an amazing work. And how?
Thank you.
I'll share some links to the Faraja Trust, and people can read about it and everything that you do. I know we would have, if we had time, we would talk a lot about things, but there's something I really wanted to get your feedback about, and it's about you're in the media industry, and we're in the social media boom where everything is social media, and then COVID came and it meant people stay at home. Now you have to watch TV, get your phone, get your Facebook, and do you think there's a line between how much time people should spend on social media, or it's okay? How far is too far in social media? I mean,
there's definitely a line. I'm raising children. My firstborn is a creative. He has his own YouTube page. Uh-huh. He didn't get there by chance. It's because of the amount of time he spent. Well, not really on social media. He's his video games, but it starts from somewhere.
Yeah.
There's an addiction to social media because it's an easy platform. It gives us instant gratification. I take a picture, I post, people tell me I'm beautiful, I feel good about myself.
Yes.
So we're constantly doping up on endorphins, and these are false endorphins because social media can be great. Right now, everything is e-commerce. Businesses are going online. So people who are in Lokichogyo are able to trade with people in Mombasa, and they're using their mobile phone. So it actually has its purpose. Mm-hmm. And that is why social media managers are now a job. It's back in the day, it used to be just influencers. Mm-hmm. But right now it's actually a job. There are courses on social media management, even in LinkedIn. So it has a purpose.
Yeah.
However, my worry with social media is it can be a false truth because it portrays a lie.
Yeah.
People only show you what you want to see. They don't show you their weaknesses. And if you try and show your weakness on social media, you're quickly shut down. And you're pretty much told to tough it out, put on your big lady pants and have a shot of whiskey and get over it.
True.
Because nobody wants to hear a sad story. Social media is all about making fun of other people or, feel good about, we're gone to the club, we're drinking, here's a picture of me with a bottle of Jameson. Or, I'm going for a wedding, and then we'll put a very silly quote, but you just want to show your nice outfit and how your boobs are popping and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So the worry with that is that it creates a false illusion, especially with a younger generation that has grown up with social media from the time when they were meant to play. You know, like when you're 9 and below, but you're all over Facebook and Instagram and TikTok.
True.
So it creates a false illusion of what life is and a perception of what life isn't. Life is not about likes and comments and stuff like that. Life is about relationship, community, which is why COVID was such a blow, because it hit us at our core, which is the ability to relate, to talk, to touch, to sense.
Yeah.
And now social media is making it worse. You know, I don't know if you've noticed, there's just too much content.
Yes, exactly.
Everyone is a content producer.
True.
Yeah, I'm also a content producer. There's something I do on my Instagram called Pass It Anchor. I started to do it as a way of getting over road rage. A couple of people are catching on, I won't lie. What I'm speaking, it also affects me. Yeah, I like it when I do something and I post and guys are like, Cindy, that's great content. It gives me motivation to give good content. And sometimes I'm given influencer jobs based on the analytics I get from my posts. So I can actually make money. But my worry is, to answer your question, is if I was on social media all day chasing likes, that would be a bit of a problem.
True. I think that's true. I would agree with you. Of course, there's a kind of a line. I think that it's okay. It's a place where everybody is doing something. People are generating content. But then my worry was about people they're actually people who update their Instagram stories, I think, over 30 times a day. When they wake up, what they take for breakfast, which is okay. So I'm really lost in between deciding where the line is. But anyway, that's a good point from you. So as we wrap up, one very huge question I would ask is, if you are given a chance to change anything in your life, or if you're given a chance, like some superpower energy, what would you change? Is there anything that you feel like, if I were a chance, I would go back and you either something you went through, something that happened, a choice that you did. Is there something you'd want to change?
Oh yes. Oh God, where do I start? Too many.
Wow.
I wish I had the fortitude to save money earlier. Right now the economy is very tough, but even when I started off with the few coins that I had, life was a bit bearable. Milk was 20 shillings. Wow. You know, fare was not as crazy as it was. We didn't have a lot of expenses because we didn't have smartphones, so bundles were a hoax, you know?
Yeah.
I wish I had the fortitude to save, because it's not of lack of opportunity. I had so many trainings and saving, but because I was young and foolish, I'd blow my money. And in things that were not worthwhile and in things that would not give me the necessary return on investment. So I really wish I saved earlier. I think it would have helped me moving forward. Yeah, but nothing else. You know, there are those things that I did that were foolish.
Yeah.
And there were consequences to it. But I'm a product of my choices, and I would not be here today with my reasoning, with my level-headedness, had I not done foolish things. So I appreciate the foolish things. I wish I did not do as many. But now that I'm older enough, I'm able to appreciate the foolish things. Yeah.
Awesome. So what this is just the final question I'll ask. I won't ask more. This is the last one. So what is that move? What is that thing that keeps you going, that makes you really wake up and like fight another fight every day? Like what keeps you going? What is your motivating factor in that?
Definitely the love I have for my children. My desire and passion to see them have a comfortable and quality life. This is how I see parenthood. I chose to bring these kids into the world. Therefore, it is my responsibility to make sure that I take care of them and I give them the same opportunities I had growing up, even better. So just knowing that waking up in the morning, looking at my kids, I want to give them the best, because I'd feel some type of way if my kids lacked.
Yeah.
And I had all these opportunities, all these skills, all these resources, and I'm not able to give anything to my children. So they are definitely my motivating factor.
Yeah.
I love my 3 boys. I've got 3 boys, 10, 2, and 9 months. They're amazing. They make the house lively.
Yeah.
I can't imagine my life without them.
No.
So definitely my children. The second thing is where I work at Faraja. I'm blessed that I work at a place where I get to give back to society and I get to help people.
Mm-hmm.
Why I moved from media to development is because, you see, Joshua, in life, you can make all the money you want, but if you don't find your purpose,
True. Yeah.
then the money that you make is not going to fulfill you. That's why even the Bible says, what benefits you to gain the whole world yet forfeit your soul? I found my soul in development.
Mm-hmm.
I found my purpose. My purpose is to help people. So when I'm in a position that I'm able to help people, then it gives me joy. This car seat anchor that I do, yes, it's to, help me with road rage. But something interesting, there are people who actually DM me and say, I like what you said.
True.
It touched me, and can you help me get through this issue? Because I'm very open about the fact that I did not have it all together.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to make some pretty shitty decisions to get to where I am. And I'm open about that because I think we need to make failure, we need to normalize failure. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
People are hanging themselves, people are borrowing cars to floss,
Mm-hmm.
people are posting their Insta stories 30 times a day, like you said, because we don't want to be associated with failure, but failure is part of the process.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand failure, and if through my failure I can help somebody, then that makes it worthwhile. So definitely my kids, and definitely an opportunity to help people, and finally to give God all the glory.
Perfect. That's such a nice way to end it. I think thank you so much for really taking your time to open up about such issues. And I think the way the Grow podcast and one of my main aims is not to actually share people's stories so that people can learn and see, so actually it's actually people can go for noble tasks like such as helping people can go to impacting their societies, people can find positions that impact the people in general. So that's really good of you, and thank you so much for sharing that. We really appreciate. I hope the listener, of course, has learned something new, or they have been impacted in a way. So thank you so much. That's it for today. I hope to see my listeners, not to see actually. Hopefully we will. I will post another episode, I think, next week on Friday. So I hope you have a nice time and keep safe.